There might be water on the moon, and China is going to find it. At the very bottom of the moon, in a region that never ever sees sunlight, scientists believe something extraordinary is hiding. Water, not a river or a lake, frozen water, locked inside ancient craters so deep that sunlight has never reached their floors, not for billions of years. Scientists call these places permanently shadowed regions, and they may contain one of the most valuable resources in the entire solar system. In 2026, China is sending a mission called Chang'e 7 straight to the moon's south pole to find out if that water is really there. And if it is, it could change everything about how humans explore space. Why is the moon's south pole so special? Most of the moon's surface goes through extreme temperature swings, boiling hot in sunlight, freezing cold in darkness. But the South Pole is different. Some areas there receive almost constant sunlight on the ridges, which is perfect for solar energy. And at the bottom of deep craters nearby, it is permanently, completely dark and unbelievably cold, around minus 250 degrees Celsius. That's more than 10 times colder than your home freezer. At that temperature, ice becomes as hard as steel. Water brought to the moon by ancient comets and asteroids billions of years ago has stayed locked inside these craters ever since. But don't imagine a smooth skating rink. This isn't clean ice. It's more like frost mixed into the lunar soil, tiny crystals of ice buried in the dust and dirt, frozen solid for billions of years. Scientists would need to heat the soil to release the water hidden inside, like a chef steaming vegetables, to release their moisture. Why does lunar water matter so much? Think about everything water can do. Drinking water. Future astronauts living on the moon would need to drink and wash. Shipping water from Earth is extraordinarily expensive. Growing food, a lunar base would need to grow some of its own food. Plants need water. Rocket fuel. Here's the most exciting part. Water can be split into hydrogen and oxygen using electricity from solar panels. Hydrogen and oxygen are rocket propellants. In other words, moon water could be turned into rocket fuel right there on the moon. That last point is a game changer. Going to Mars from Earth is like trying to climb a mountain while carrying a backpack stuffed with 50 years worth of supplies. You're exhausted before you even start. But if you could stop at the moon first and restock, it's like discovering a supermarket halfway up the mountain. You travel light from Earth, refuel on the moon, and continue the journey with far less effort. The moon could become a refueling station for missions to Mars and beyond, and moon water would be the fuel. What is Chang'e 7? Chang'e 7 is named after Chang'e, the goddess of the moon in Chinese mythology. According to legend, she lives on the moon with a jade rabbit. You might notice that China's moon rover is called U2, which means jade rabbit in Chinese. The Chang'e 7 mission is one of the most complex robotic space missions ever attempted. It includes 5 separate spacecraft working together, an orbiter, circling the moon, gathering data and communicating with Earth, a lander, touching down near the South Pole, a rover, driving across the surface to explore and collect samples, a mini flying probe, the Space Frog. Unlike a rover that drives on wheels, this hopper can leap off the lander and fly into the dark craters where no wheeled robot could safely go. It's the first robot in history designed to fly across the moon's surface, searching for water ice, like a tiny frog jumping into the world's darkest, coldest pond. A relay satellite, helping all the other spacecraft communicate when they're on the far side of the moon. China has already launched a relay satellite called Queqiao, meaning Magpie Bridge, into lunar orbit. In Chinese mythology, a flock of magpies forms a bridge across the sky so 2 separated lovers can meet once a year. In real life, Queqiao forms a bridge across space, carrying signals between the moon's far side and Earth. The Space Frog hopper is the most exciting part of the mission. No spacecraft has ever entered one of the moon's permanently shadowed craters before. It will be flying into complete darkness in extreme cold, searching for ice that has been hidden for billions of years. Why are both China and the USA heading to the same spot? This is an important question, and it doesn't have a simple answer. Both NASA's Artemis program and China's Chang'e program are targeting the moon's south pole. Both are looking for water ice. Both are thinking about future human bases in the same region. There is competition here. The first country to map and understand the South Pole's resources will have a significant advantage in planning future lunar bases. Some people compare it to the early exploration of Antarctica, a remote, resource-rich region where multiple countries have set up research stations and cooperated, but also competed for influence. Unlike on Earth, there are no roads, no borders, and no property lines on the moon. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967 says no country can claim the moon as its own, but questions about who gets to use which resources and how are ones that humanity hasn't fully figured out yet. What is clear is that the moon's south pole will be one of the most important places in space exploration for the next 50 years. And in 2026, Chang'e 7 is going there first. What would a lunar base actually look like? Scientists and engineers around the world are beginning to design what a permanent moon base might look like, perhaps in the 2030s or 2040s. It would likely be partly underground, shielded from radiation by the lunar soil. It would use solar power from the sunlit ridges. It would process local water ice for drinking and fuel. Robots would do much of the heavy work, preparing the site before humans arrive. It sounds like science fiction, but then again, so did going to the moon in 1969, right up until the moment it happened. Chang'e 7 is one of the first real steps toward making that future possible. Maybe by the time you grow up, traveling to the moon won't seem so different from boarding a long flight to the other side of the world. We don't know yet, but we do know this. It all starts with a small robot, leaping into the darkness, looking for a few drops of frozen water. If you could visit the moon one day, what's the first thing you would do when you got there? Leave your answer in the comments.